You're live.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome to our Week 17 NFL live stream where we're going to take a look at our top 5 games of the week as well as our mortal locks for Week 17. Might even get that parlay out to you by the end of the episode if everyone has their legs. We're going to start out with the first game, possibly the game of the day, where we have Tua Tagovailoa and the Miami Dolphins heading up to Baltimore to take on the MVP favorite in Lamar Jackson. Spread now sits at Ravens -3. -118 for the spread, -174 on the money line, and the over-unders 46.5. Dolphins money line comes in at +146. I'm going to keep riding these Miami Dolphins this week. I locked it in yesterday at the 3.5 at -115. You will see that on my card. I just like these Dolphins to stay hot, cover the number, possibly win the game. I'm going to take the 3 and a hooker, though. Mackie, Dolphins at Ravens. Which way are you going on this one? I feel like you're our fade the Ravens guy. I've done it a lot this year. Hasn't
worked well.
This is a spot where I love the Dolphins.
Yeah, that's a good spot to be. Fade the team that's 12-3 every week. Yeah, but no, I'm gonna do it again. Yep, I'm gonna do it again. Ravens coming out. They're both coming off a bit of overwhelming performances. I'd say the Ravens coming off a bit more of an overwhelming performance. Only 3-point favorites at home against this Dolphins team. Ravens have taken care of business all year at home. I feel like this should be a bit higher of a line. Kind of sketchy. I think Tua, Tyreek Hill have huge games today. Kind of expose that defense that hasn't been exposed yet this year. But Miami's been doing whatever they want on offense. So I think if that defense can just step up a little, I think the 3 points could be a little sketchy. I'm going to go with Miami +3 to at least cover this game, keep it close. Could be a 1-2 point game, but I think Miami does win outright as well.
Mackie, let me just go back. You talked about some overwhelming wins from last week. I think the Dolphins win might be more overwhelming. First time that fraudulent team, they won the Fraud Bowl, as Huff dubbed it last week. They beat the Cowboys. First time they beat a winning record team all year long. We knew what the Ravens were doing. Maybe it wasn't too shocking. None of us carded it. I honestly lean Niners, didn't play it. But they own the NFC, so not too shocking, I guess, when you look at the stats. But back at home at M&T Bank Stadium, they're going to take care of business. I'm taking Ravens -3. I already have that locked in, had it locked in all week. No Jalen Waddle, no Raheem Mostert. That's massive for these Miami Dolphins. You can double cover, maybe even triple, give a lot of help on Tyreek Hill, make anybody else beat you. Is a chain good enough to go a full game without Mostert? Guy finds the end zone every week. There's 6 points off the board. No Waddle, that's massive. I want to see what Tua is able to do. He was a little banged up this week too coming in, so that's another thing to keep on the radar. But the winner of this game will win the MVP, in my opinion. So go and lock in your MVP play of whoever you think's winning on this side. I told Huff you have great value on Tua Tagovailoa if you think the Dolphins are getting the job done. I personally don't, so I would go with Lamar. You kind of missed out on your chance to bet him for the MVP, but you can take them this week -3. Feel confident. Defense playing great football. Top 3 defense in the league. Zay Flowers. No Keaton Mitchell, but Gus Edwards. Mark Andrews might even come back in the playoffs. Big Hoss, you're feeling hyped about that one. Ravens -3 at home. Book it for sure. 12-3 for a reason.
Yeah, a lot of good points there.
Got to go with the trends.
I'm not going to lie. I did not know that. It still says he's questionable for Mostert.
I didn't know Mostert was out. I knew Jalen Waddle was out, but Jalen Waddle's out half the year. He gets injured at least once every other game. So
I just care about number 1 under center and number 10, and that defense has been buzzing. I literally just put Achane in my flex in fantasy because Mostert's going to be out. That's a great idea on my part. We'll get into this second game. We have an NFC matchup with some playoff implications on the line for each of these teams. We have the Atlanta Falcons heading up to Chicago to take on Justin Fields and the Bears. Bears come in at 2.5-point favorite, -120 on the 2.5 there, -144 on the money line. Falcons money line +122, and the over/unders at 38.5. I like the Bears here to cover this number at home. The Bears' run defense has been very good against the run. Falcons to have a good game plan coming into this one. You got to think they're looking to move the ball on the ground with Bijan. Obviously, maybe not with Bijan. They love to not use him. So could be any of that plethora of running backs they have down there in Atlanta. I'm on the Bears here. I like the Bears to come out in a low-scoring game in Chicago and cover the -2.5 and get the win. Ace, I'll go off to you here. Falcons at Bears. It's Soldier Field. Which way are you going here on a 2.5-point spread?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, this is one of the toughest games of the week for me to decide on. If you listen to our regular podcast during the week, I was kind of leaning on those Falcons. Then I heard your guys' points on the Bears. I'm like, oh, I kind of lean that one too. I'm a big Justin Fields guy. He kind of let me down earlier this year. I've only bet on him once. Mac remembers it, and I hit him on the money line. Don't think I can do it again. So kudos to you if you guys go after it this week, or you've hit him on this little win streak that they got going as they've been playing good football of late. Herbert really jumping back onto the scene. If you're in the fantasy championship, congrats to you. Feel free to fire him up again. I think he has another big day. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, though. Huff was saying Drake London might be able to get something going. I know it's Heineke under center, no more Desmond Ritter. I think it's going to be tough sledding for Bijan and co. I know they have a little plethora of running backs back there. I kind of lean the Bears now, but just to keep it so we don't give the full jinx, I'll go with the Falcons in this one. Not touching this game personally, but Mackie, let me know. You're really on this game more than I am, so let me know what you think.
Yeah, I'm usually not on the Bears. I don't really like to bet on them, but I do like them in this spot. You know how the Falcons play on the road, completely two different teams. Bears have won 4 of their last 6. Defense is playing well. Justin Fields is playing pretty good football as well. He's using his feet really well, which he's always done, but he's definitely improved in his passing game as well, which has complemented his run game a lot more as well, since defenses respect him a lot more. At home, I like the spot here. I think they're playing better football, and they're not really playing for much. Playoff implications are kind of out of contention with 9 losses already. But I think they get the job done here. I think they're the better team in this situation.
Yeah, I agree. I just think the run defense comes out. I definitely could see this be a low-scoring game. I don't know what the weather's looking like in Chicago today, but obviously late in December, you got to start thinking weather starts to play in effect in some of these games. I saw a couple of games have some crazy wind reports. That's why we have a little bit lower over/under in some of these games. But we will jump into our last 1 o'clock game with another game with big playoff implications on the line, where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers can clinch the division today against the New Orleans Saints in Tampa Bay. Bucks come in as a 2.5-point favorite, minus 142 on the money line. Saints plus 120, and the over/unders at 42.5. I like 2 plays in this game, but I like the under more. So I'll start out. I do like the under 42.5. I think both defenses get the job done today in a 1 o'clock matchup down in Tampa Bay. I think that both defenses are able to contain these offenses. Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans, they've been on fire. I am going to go with the Saints here to cover this number, possibly win the game. It's so NFC South for this to not go into Week 18 without anyone clinching the division. Come down with a couple of losses and a win next week. I do think the Bucs are going to end up winning this division. If it happens this week, it happens. But I actually like the Saints plus the 3 points, but I love that under. Mackie, I'll hand things off over to you for this divisional matchup, Saints at Bucs.
Yeah, we've seen this line drop sitting at 2.5 now. I think it started at 4, if I'm not wrong. But
yeah,
it
would
would
be
be
3.5 Wednesday when we talked.
Yeah, it would be so NFC South. You just wait till Week 18 with 3 teams tied at 8-8. But the Bucs do have a chance to clinch this division this week, barring what the Falcons do. I think they're the best team. I think it's pretty obvious they're the best team. They're on a 4-game winning streak. That connection between Mike Evans and Baker Mayfield has been elite this year. We know what Rachaad White has done in that backfield these last few weeks. I think this offense gets going. I think that they put up points. We know the Saints offense struggles to put up points. That defense has been playing pretty well. But this Bucs team is playing really good football. I trust them to get the job done against a struggling Saints team. And I think that they should win the division at the end of the day. So I think that they get the job done here.
Yeah, Mackie, who would have thought that we would be at this point of the season with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers really leading the way? I know, not too much. I didn't even think they'd be doing this well. I just thought they had a really low win total for the season with the guys they had coming back. I mean, it's a pretty loaded roster. And Baker Mayfield, we see what he can do on a loaded roster. Did it in college, took those Browns kind of far at some points too. Especially when you're throwing the ball up to Mike Evans, Chris Godwin jumping back on the scene. They have a few other receivers too. They have a few rookies out there that they like as well. But Rachaad White really turning into a top-end running back. And then we know what that defense can do at home. I think Derek Carr is going to struggle a bit this game, maybe have a few turnovers. I see Chris Olave really eating. If you got him, like I said in the fantasy championship, once again, roll him. He looked great coming off of his injury. He had a big game. I think he had almost 10 catches in his previous one. So look for him to continue to light it up. I think Evans and White both have a chance at finding the end zone. Those are my 2 favorite picks to get in. But I think it's a low-scoring game like Huff was alluding to. I see a 2-point, 3-point win. So I might be taking that Bucs spread. Going to be weary of it. But I do think they get the job done. They might be able to cover it. A defensive turnover, a defensive touchdown would go miles for us. But I think this is going to be a great, hard-fought game. And it's really going to be something you tune into at the end. It's going to be low, 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 tight, tight, tight. And at the end, you're going to have to see who comes out on top. I lean the Buccaneers. They have championship pedigree all over that roster. So give me the Bucs this week.
I like it. All right, we will head to our first and only 4 o'clock game on our 5-game slate. Out in Seattle, where my Steelers will be taking on the Seahawks, where the Steelers come in as a 4.5-point underdog. Seahawks minus the 4.5, minus 200 on the money line. Steelers plus 168 on the money line, and the over under at 40.5. This line has rise since Tomlin announced that Rudolph was going to be the starter. There's a couple injuries going both ways. It's looking like the Seahawks are going to be getting Geno Smith back this week. I like the Steelers to keep things close. Again, just like I like the NFC South to be undetermined going into the Week 18. I think the Steelers do their part and get a win here this week. I'm going to take the points, cover the number, plus 4.5. I like the Steelers on the road. Tough spot up there in Seattle. That's definitely one of the harder places to play. I just think we kind of have that backup quarterback mojo. I think Mason's going to have another pretty good game today. Solid. Doesn't have to go out there and win the game for us. Just can't go out there and lose it. People love to say that about backup quarterbacks. And, last week he went out there and won the game, scoring 38 points. I think this week we tone it back a little bit. Look more to Najee and Jalen Warren to get stuff going on the ground against a Seattle defense that has struggled against the run. I like the Steelers to cover the number. Ace, we'll go out to you here for Seahawks Steelers.
Yeah, sorry, Yinzers, but Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, it's not Christmas time anymore. Christmas came, it gone, and it's in the past. You're going to have to wait again till the next season for some magic to come. I like the Seahawks this week. I love them, actually. If you're somehow alive in a survival pool, I know I say this every week, this is one of my favorite plays. I know the spread's kind of low, and it's kind of scary. It's tough to bet against the Steelers. I feel you. It's the hardest team to bet against in the league because they can beat anybody. They can lose to anybody. That defense is mean with DJ Watt leading the way. Mike Tomlin, we know he wants to get to 500 at least on the record for the season as well. So that's another thing to keep in mind. I like Huff's talk of Jalen Warren having a solid day. I think he does. He's been getting the ball on the ground and through the air. I think you can fire him up in any league, maybe take a rushing and receiving prop there. But I think it's going to be the Seahawks who come out on top. I think their passing game is going to have a big week this week. I don't see Kenneth Walker having too much success, but I see DK Metcalf. If he's good to go, I know he's questionable. I bet you he is good to go. He's going to have a good one. They got JSN really coming into his own and Tyler Lockett as well. I like the Seahawks here with the points. This might be on my card. I think they're getting back to the playoffs for another year. Mackie, which way do you lean on this split between me and Huff?
Yeah, I'm basically looking at it the same exact way you are. I think this Seattle team is just way too good for this for the Steelers team. The Steelers team sitting at 8-7, but I don't think they're a playoff team. And putting them at 9-7 with a chance to be 10-7 after next week, I just think you're asking too much for the Steelers team. 4.5-point spread, kind of sketchy. But I think Geno Smith gets this offense back on track. I think Kenneth Walker has a huge game on the ground today. I think it's a big running game for the Seahawks today. Tyler Lockett to have a big game finding holes in this defense. I think the Seahawks offense rolls. It's hard to go into Seattle and play. It's also hard to go into Pittsburgh and play. So Pittsburgh knows that the other end of that. But the 4.5, it's sketchy against the Steelers. We know how the Steelers play. You said it best. Hardest team to bet against. Also the hardest team to bet on. Mason Rudolph, great game last week. I also expect him to step down a bit. I'm going to go with the Seahawks to win. Probably a good, like you said, a good parlay piece for the money line. 4.5, kind of sketchy. I wouldn't touch it.
Yeah, shout out to Chance Galucci in the chat, going with the Seattle on the money line. I do like your Olave and Evans anytime play. I think they see a lot of the ball. Thing is, do you think there's that many points in the game? I don't think so in an NFC South divisional matchup. But hey, I think it's great odds.
I think it's tough to bet against that Bucs offense right now, so I don't think it's a bad idea. But Olave, you're asking for like one of maybe max 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, max.
All right, we will get into our Sunday night football matchup where we have another divisional matchup with the Green Bay Packers heading out to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. Vikings come into this one as a 1.5-point favorite, minus 108 on the money line with a pick 'em going both ways, minus 108 both on FanDuel, and the over-under at 43.5. I'll get us started out here. Jaron Hall going for the Vikings at home in the prime time. I love the Packers in this spot. Packers defense has been getting torched. They're without Jair Alexander. The line just kind of is a little closer than I think it should be. I still think the Packers should be a 3-point favorite or a 3-point underdog in this game. Telling me to take the Packers. Packers are going to win this one outright. I like the Packers on the money line in the prime time.
Yeah, I'm with you here. I do love this Packers in this game. Vikings already went into Green Bay and smoked them 24-10, and I don't think this Vikings team is that good to win both these games against the Packers.
I just don't think Jaron Hall is actually like good.
No, definitely not. And I like the way Jordan Love's been playing. I think that he's been doing enough. He's kind of finding a groove in that offense. They've been rolling a little better. I think that they're more of a playoff team than the Vikings. I think they keep their season alive this week in a definitely a must-win game over in Minnesota. Divisional matchup. Give me the Packers and basically a pick 'em.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Nobody saw this one coming, but I'm going to go with the Skull this week. I like what Jaron Hall brings to this offense. He kind of brings that Josh Dobbs dynamic without throwing the interception because he's a young guy, doesn't want to throw that pick. He can run one in this week. I kind of see him having a rushing touchdown. Great value on it, too. Not going to card it, but going to play that off card very, very light. If I did card, it'd be like a 0.25 use, so you're going to probably put less than $10 on this. But hey, if it hits, you're getting some good value. I think that he's going to have a big day with Justin Jefferson, going to look to him every chance he can get. I know his props are pretty high, but that's a good thing to look into. And I do like the Vikings -1, 1.5, -108, however you want to play that. I think they get the job done and win this game. I think Jordan Love, great young promising quarterback, going to have a great career. This Packers team just isn't it. I don't think they have enough on offense to get it done. I don't think they're too consistent. I've got the Vikings in this one. Their defense is going to step up. I know it hasn't been playing great this year, but we saw that 3-0 shutout they pitched against the Raiders. I see a similar game here. I like a low-scoring one with Justin Jefferson doing just enough to bring the Vikings to the promised land and maybe sniff those playoffs, although I'm on the Rams and Seahawks as those final seeds.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. Huge playoff implications on this one. Wizards out. Winners not necessarily in, but they're putting themselves in a good spot. So this should be a good game.
If you want any life, you got to win this one. Sunday
Yeah,
Night
for sure.
Football, this is going to be a grind, I bet. I bet you it's a close one. That's why the line's a pick 'em. It's going to stay that way throughout, in my opinion. No one's running away.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I definitely lean on the under as well in this one, but I love the Packers in this spot. You'll probably see that on my card. We will get into our mortal locks of the week. I'll get us started here. I am going with the Arizona Cardinals in Philly to score less than 17.5 points. Just lock that in. You will see that on my card. I got it at -120 on FanDuel. I do really like that. I was telling the boys before we started recording, Cardinals on the road this year have only scored more than 16 points one time. That was when they beat my Steelers. I think going to Philly, a cross-country trip, it's going to be a tough sledding over there in Philly today. I think the Eagles defense has their way with the Cardinals. Cardinals team total under 17.5. Ace, what is your mortal lock of the week?
Yeah, I'm going to come with a mortal lock that's at plus money too. And normally you never see this guy at plus money to get in the end zone, but he's been struggling of late. But they have another chance to little brother a team that they always do. They're going into Arrowhead in the Chiefs Kingdom. Travis Kelce been catching a lot of flack lately about his Taylor Swift romance and all that. I know a lot of you love the Taylor Swift news out there, love seeing her on your TV. But I like Travis Kelce to get into the end zone this week. It's sitting at plus 110. When's the last time you saw Travis Kelce at plus 110 against a bad defense?
115.
Where are you seeing that? I got ESPN bet is my best line I'm seeing.
Yeah, I see. Anytime touchdown for Kelce, 115 on FanDuel.
Yeah, that's crazy. I'll probably lock that one in with the plus 115 right now. I love that play. It's my mortal lock.
I thought you were going to say Mixon, dude. Mixon's plus 135 on FanDuel. That's pretty fucking crazy.
That's a good SGP on the two of them. I do think there's a lot of points in this game. Both defenses kind of weak. Jamar Chase back in the mix as well. I know we're not touching on this game too much, but it's a pretty highly stakes game as the Chiefs look to lock up that division and clinch. Bengals look to keep pace in the playoff hunt. Jamar Chase, he's going to be back and getting the rock a lot. But I like Travis Kelce. Taylor Swift thing, the game sucks. I still have a reason to watch if Taylor Swift's on the TV. Yeah, I'm right there with you. But yeah, I think that's a great call out with the Mixon and Kelce thing. You're probably sitting at like plus 350, 400.
Yeah,
you combine those two?
I'll see what it is real quick.
It might be a good,
Kelce,
nice little throw.
Mixon.
I think there's a lot of points there. But Mackie,
Plus-
while he's looking into that one, let us know. Oh, you got it?
Yeah, plus 366 for those two legs. Kelce and Mixon both to score.
I kind of like that. My lock's still with Kelce as I like that offense a bit more. Browning scares me sometimes. But yeah, I think both do get in this week.
Yeah, I'll get into my lock of the week. I'm going to go with the Bengals plus the 6.5. You can get it at -102. So if you want to buy the hook to 7, probably get a pretty good price on it where it's not too high. This Chiefs team they don't deserve to be a 6.5 point favorite. They haven't scored more than 20 points. Well, they scored more than 20 points once in the last 4 weeks against the Patriots, scored 27 points. Offense isn't rolling. Mahomes is frustrated. The defense isn't even playing that well. What's his face? Aiden O'Donnell had 68 yards last week, and they ended up beating the Chiefs 20-14. Says a lot about this Chiefs team. I think they're kind of in shambles right now. This is a tough game to go into. Talking about you don't trust Jake Browning. He threw for 300 plus yards in 4 straight games. He had one bad game against a pretty good defense in that Steelers. And you know what they can do on random days. I'm going to trust them to bounce back here. I'm not going to say they're going to win, but I do think that they keep this one close and cover the 7 points. I don't think this Chiefs team deserves a 7-point favorite against anyone right now.
How many targets do you think Jamar Chase sees in his return?
Yeah, I don't really think it's a Jamar Chase game. I think Joe Mixon does have a big game. I'll probably take him anytime touchdown as well. But I don't know. I just think Jake Browning does enough to keep this one close. I'm not saying they're going to have a great game, but Chiefs offense does not score points right now. You saw Mahomes how frustrated he was last week against the Raiders defense, who really is just Max Crosby you have to worry about in that pass rush, and they were getting through almost every single play. It was crazy. So I'm gonna expect the Bengals to kind of be in the same boat here as the Raiders were last week, and just frustrate Pat Mahomes all game and just keep this one close.
Ace over
Yeah,
under.
Mac, you think that's
over under 5.5 receptions for Jamar Chase?
Oh, I love the over there.
Plus 110.
Love that. I think he sees double-digit targets this week.
It's just not his year this year. I don't know. I can't really take a prop on him right now. With the quarterback situation, obviously it's a little different, but I don't know. I just don't. He's been criticizing him and everything. I just think it's he just needs to wait for next year, and Joe Burrow will be back.
Yeah, I think that'll be interesting. Mackie, with your mortal lock of the week and those Bengals plus 6.5, you see it as more of a backdoor cover? Or you think they're able to stick around throughout the game?
No. I think it's probably going to be covered all game. I think they even have a lead late in this game where I think the Chiefs do end up finding a way to win this game, but you're going to have to see like a nice drive from Mahomes, maybe kick a field goal towards the end. I think it could be a 1 to 2 point game at the end of the day.
I think as long as Mahomes keeps the ball in his team's hands, it's crazy to say that. He's up there, third in the league, I think, in interceptions. 2 defensive scores by the Raiders last week. I think if he can keep the ball in their hands, I like the Chiefs in this one, but kudos to you on taking that one against the Chiefs offense. I know they don't like to cover big spreads, so not a bad theory. We got Jesse's mortal lock. We want to shout it out for the people.
Do you have one?
Mortal lock, Bills and
He
Raiders.
said he doesn't
parlay.
have one right now, so we'll just stay tuned for the parlay. Whenever we get the parlay going, we'll get that posted. Everything will get posted
We're
by-
hitting good odds.
Yeah, does anyone know their parlay leg?
No.
Yeah, mine's Rams money line.
That's what I was looking at, Dick.
All right, yeah. So other than that, I think that's gonna do it. Does anyone else have any other games we want to get into? Any opinions you want to get out? Playoff
Shut up
implications?
right here. We got Bills Raiders parlay as a mortal lock. That Raiders game, I'm on them too. I like them as dogs in this one. Road dogs. We talked about it on the pod. If you tuned in, we're kind of split on this one. It's a tough spot. Huff was agreeing with me. Bills, love that. Easiest lock of the week. I mean,
Bills got to be like minus 1,200 though.
maybe
I
a
see
little bit less.
1,100.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I like a tease down to like maybe minus 7.
6.5.
Yeah, 6.5 maybe.
I think 6.5. You'd need a third team in there because it's 14.5.
Raiders. I mean, anybody like those Raiders on the money line? That's going to be a grueling game. I think Mackey's high on the Colts.
You know how I am. It's if I can get plus 3.5 at minus 104, I'd probably just take the points. But I definitely could see them win that game.
I just hate that Raiders team. They keep finding ways to play good football, but I don't know. I do kind of like the Colts to cover that game. I just don't love it. So Raiders team put up 63 points 2 weeks ago. Nice win against the Chiefs last week. Hard to bet against a team like that right now, especially with that interim head coach. They love playing for him. Huff, you said it multiple times. They look like a different team. So
that guy's going to walk into the head coaching job next year.
He's for sure that
he definitely should
next year. I think
he definitely should. I don't know why they just don't name him right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like they don't normally do that, but I think there's like 98% chance he's the head coach next year of the Raiders.
Yeah, Vikings as your mortal lock. That's a tough one here. We got that in the chat. I mean, hey, you're going to be sweating that one out through the whole game. Jaron Hall, you're putting your mortal lock in his hands. But good luck.
Yeah, so we all got our mortal locks off. Mackie with the Bengals plus 6.5. Me with the Cardinals team total under 17.5. And Ace with a Travis Kelce anytime touchdown. So a couple plus money plays there. 3 mortal locks that we're all going with. We're going to get all of our plays out by 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. So you can get everything locked in for the 1 o'clock slate. Other than that, tomorrow we got a big slate of New Year's Day games with the college football bowls, Winter Classic, lots of good stuff in sports coming up. Other than that, you guys got anything else you want to add before we sign off here?
No, hit those books. Let's go.
Yeah, make sure you're staying tuned. Turn that bell on. Follow, like, share, subscribe, the whole 9 yards. We really appreciate it. So all the support goes a long way. Other than that, like I said, we'll get the plays out by 11:30. And let's win some money today and have a happy new year.